During 1961 and 1971, U.S. troops sprayed more than 80 million liters of herbicides containing deadly dioxin over central and southern Vietnam.
I was born without my fingers on my left hand and on my right hand.
Those stories about victims of this deadly chemical, dubbed Agent Orange, are steeped in unspeakable sorrow across multiple generations. They are powerful tales of resilience and determination.
Bơi tốt sức khỏe cho mình và có thể dạy bơi đến cho mọi người.
I have to learn how to independence and how to take care of myself.
A raw and haunting account of what it was like tracing the human cost of war in Vietnam for 21 years has been captured by Japanese director Masako Sakata.
Every time I feel it's endless. There's so much more. And I'm sure there's many more families that has been affected and hasn't been taken care of. The ruins of war remains for almost.
Và Masako, một người Nhật Bản rất yêu Việt Nam, một người Nhật Bản đã dành ra rất nhiều cái công sức và trí tuệ của mình để góp một cái phần giúp đỡ chăm sóc, giúp đỡ làm nhân gia cao Việt Nam.
She's not Vietnamese by birth, but her heart, lens, and voice have been deeply entwined with the stories of Vietnam for decades. Through powerful documentaries, she has brought international attention to one of the most devastating legacies of the American war, Agent Orange. Please welcome to Talk Vietnam filmmaker and advocate Masako Sakata. Ms. Sakata, welcome to Talk Vietnam.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me for the show.
So your documentaries have been screened in different countries. So how do you feel? What kind of impact or responses that they generated from audience?
It hasn't been shown that widely. Only selected. It was shown in America, Paris, France, and maybe some small countries.
Right.
But I suppose it has had impact. Small impact. It's not a big, Hollywood movie, but I think if it appeals to a small group, it can have a ripple effect and it will spread. And in fact, my first film was made 20 years ago,
yes.
And it is still being played and being talked about, which is a great honor for me to know.
Yeah, I do think that the movies that you made created deep impact in the heart of the audience that had the chance to see them.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes. What impact did your late husband, Greg Davis, he's a veteran, had on your path of making documentaries about war-related
he was the
issues?
reason. He was the reason why I started to make a film. He died 22 years ago.
Oh.
On May 4th. And his death was very sudden.
Yep.
And he was diagnosed, he wasn't feeling very well, and he went to the hospital, and in 2 weeks he was gone. The diagnosis was liver cancer, and I couldn't believe that a healthy person, healthy and active young person could die so easily. And I was really depressed, and a friend of his suggested that it may be because of Agent Orange, so that I was awakened to the issue of Agent Orange. In order to overcome my sorrow, I started to look into what was the Agent Orange.
Yeah.
And I thought I would find out about Agent Orange and make documentary about it.
Yeah, but before that, you had never heard about Agent Orange.
I have heard about it because when we first met in 1970s, my husband told me that we will not be able to have children because he has been exposed in Agent Orange in Vietnam. But we were not thinking about, we were 22, we were not thinking about having children. So I had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So after his death, those words came back to me and said, thought, well, he was aware that he was exposed to Agent Orange.
Right. Why did you want to learn more about Agent Orange, and why did you choose to do documentaries to know more about the topic?
I think the main reason is because I wanted to get out of the deep depression that I had, deep depression and sorrow that I was in after his death. I had to do something in order to lift myself up. And, you know, I was wondering what Agent Orange was. And I was always interested in making documentaries, although I had never had a chance to do it. So that was that was a good chance. And we went to spread my husband's ashes in the Lake of Maine in America, because that's where I studied. I was an exchange student in 1965.
Yeah.
And there I found out that there was a workshop, 2-week workshop, to teach how to make documentaries in 2 weeks. And I had no knowledge of how to use the camera or how to edit. But in 2 weeks, I came to realize that, you know, even I can make a film.
So after that 2-week course, what made you know that making documentary is your thing, is something that help you unlock your curiosity and to help you understand more about the matter that you care about?
I did not know. I was just so desperate to do something. So when I returned to Japan, first thing I did was to buy a camera. Not professional camera, but not amateur either, in between. And in those days, the digitalization of filmmaking and photography was coming into fashion. So technological innovation really helped me make a film. So the next summer I came to Vietnam with a camera and started to do a story on Agent Orange.
Was it difficult to get to know Vietnam in your, initial encounter with it?
Well, my initial encounter, I was with magnum photographer, British photographer named Philip Jones Griffith, who covered Vietnam War for a long time. So he opened the door for me, and we had a help from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a great help, and I think at that time Vietnam was starting to be aware that the issue of Agent Orange has to be brought out into the international stage.
Right.
So until then, I don't think Vietnam could afford. There are lots of problems other than Agent Orange. So that year, 2004, was the year I understand that the BABA was established,
right.
And as I started to film Agent Orange.
I see.
Agent Orange, A Personal Requiem in 2007 was Japanese filmmaker Masako Sakata's first documentary. It began as Masako's search for answers after the death of her husband, American photographer Greg Davis. He was a veteran who fought in the war in Vietnam before succumbing to cancer due to his suspected exposure to dioxin. Driven by a desire to understand the cause of her husband's illness, Masako traveled to Vietnam in 2004. There, she met the victims of Agent Orange, including children born with severe disabilities, families burdened with irreversible loss caused by the dioxin chemicals sprayed by U.S. troops. Through her lens and candid storytelling, A Personal Requiem became more than a tribute to one man. It became a powerful voice for international justice and awareness. Screened at numerous international film festivals, the film left audiences deeply moved.
How do you see the future for them?
It is very difficult, but they are very cheerful. Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, and sometimes I feel very bad for them. Pity. And sometimes I cry for them. Yes, they really don't know about their future.
So let's talk about your first documentary, Agent Orange, A Personal Requiem. What were the biggest challenges that you faced in making that film?
I don't recall any big challenge. It was my first trial, so I did not know what I was going to make. I was just pushed by the urge to make something, to do something with my sorrow.
Right.
And, you know, as we were traveling through Vietnam and filming the victims, I was just taken by surprise to see the victims through all over the place.
Yeah.
And their plight came through the camera into me, and at the same time, the sorrow, so as well as sorrow, the love that families had for the victims of Agent Orange came through the camera lens to my mind, and it healed me. The quality of my first documentary is not so good. The camera is shaking and the focus is not very good, and the light is not very good. But there was a strong story of the victims who told their stories from the bottom of their heart.
Right.
And I think I could get pretty close to the bottom of their heart because I was feeling very sad too. But also, I realized that I was not the only person who was suffering. There were many people suffering, and I felt very connected to them.
Was there any particular encounter or people that you met that left a deep impression on you and you can still recall now?
Yeah, one person is Dr. Nguyen Thi Ngoc Phon, who I met at Tusu Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City. In Japan, the issue of Agent Orange is pretty well known. Many people in Japan know about Agent Orange for a long time because of Dr. Phon, and also because of Doc and Vet, who are conjoined twins who are separated in Vietnam in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because of their existence, the issue of Agent Orange is pretty well known in Japan.
I see.
So Dr. Phon I was very impressed by her, her generosity to share her experience and her stories with me.
Dr. Phượng is such a figure because she was one of the earliest people to bring the issue of Agent Orange to the world.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes, I really admire her.
Is there any victims of Agent Orange or any stories of the victims that particularly touched you so much in your initial days learning about the issue in Vietnam?
Oh, there are many, but But the most outstanding is the story of Duen, who was born with so-called two heads. And when I first met him, I stepped back, because he was so disfigured.
Right.
But as I kept watching him through the lens and the interaction between his mother and the sisters, he started to look very cute, and his, the way that sisters took care of him was so heartwarming. So that scene I still remember very, very much. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about the broader impact that your documentary had on the society, on people?
I don't know if we had a big impact on the society, but it's affecting little by little.
Right.
After my first film, I thought, well, I have dealt with my grief. This is it. But I realized that there were more stories to be told. And at that time, because of my first film, I had a chance to go study journalism at Berkeley, California.
Oh, yeah.
And so I stayed for 1 year, and I learned that there are people affected, American children of Vietnam veterans who are affected by Agent Orange. So I wanted to show the story in a story of Agent Orange in a wider scope, saying that it was not only Vietnam, but it was also affecting American children. And I did the film, and one of the women, Hedda Bauer, came to meet victims of Agent Orange in Vietnam. And that thought was the first bridge between the children of Agent Orange in Vietnam and in US.
Living the Silent Spring, the sophomore documentary by filmmaker Masako Sakata, was completed in 2011. It's a quiet yet haunting journey that gently guides viewers into the lingering wounds of war and the enduring devastation of Agent Orange, which still smolders even after decades.
Đi học vậy đi học với con này nha.
Chăm sóc em cho thầy vất vả.
Con này thôi. Vì em đi học là chỗ mình và tí ở nhà em hay cười và đi lên học rồi chỗ em. Đi ba. Một thằng đấy. Cô là trong kiểu như thì em là đủ một cơm đủ để học thêm tốt, sau này là thể là trở thành một giáo viên hoặc là một bác sĩ để có thể giúp đỡ thêm cho em, cho hai em.
The film portrays the suffering of Vietnamese victims, deformed children and grieving families, while also giving voice to the American generation harmed by Agent Orange.
I was born without my fingers on my left hand and on my right hand. My hands, really honestly, never really stood in the way for me, except for an outward sign to other people that I wasn't the same. I use my hands a lot in my artwork. I find myself drawing my hands quite a bit because, to me, they're my hands, you know, just as if anyone would. But they do tell a story. They tell a story of dioxin.
Living the Silent Spring is a deeply human story about the cost of war, the quiet seasons of loss, and the lives forever altered by a toxic legacy.
So, for this return to Vietnam, you visited the Hanoi Center for Caring, Nurturing and Treating Agent Orange Dioxin Victims. What thoughts overwhelmed you most during this visit?
The state of the victims, you know, that they were. I have visited many centers, and this center was quite depressing because there's no cure for those conditions, and the people that I saw did not have consciousness.
Okay.
So. Last year I went to Kuchi, and there was a center for caring for victims of Agent Orange, which reminded me of the situation there. You know, other centers have people who are disabled but have some capabilities of like making flowers and you know, doing something. But this place was just those people were not capable of living their own life. But I suppose I noticed that the Vietnamese government is doing more and more to take care of those people, so that at least the families can be relieved of their burdens.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of difference for the families.
Yeah. But, I mean, so the center did a really good job in terms of providing care for seriously affected Agent Orange cases. What do you think of such kind of models and the approach to that? What could be done further to help the families of the victims?
I think Vietnam has done, every time I come here, I see improvement. And I spoke about the Khmer village where I first went, and I understand that they have a center for rehabilitation and care there too. So I think the burden of the family has become lighter. So Vietnam is a very caring society, I think, and it's moving towards the right direction. But the scope of the damage is so big that it takes, and the damage is done, cannot be undone.
Yes.
So what you can do is to learn from the situation and try not to repeat the same thing, not to repeat the war.
Established in 1998 by the Vietnam Veterans Association, the Vietnam Friendship Village in Hanoi is not only a care home, but also a place of hope for victims of Agent Orange. Over the past 2 decades, it has welcomed thousands of veterans and youth physically and emotionally affected by Agent Orange. Masako Sakata has become a familiar presence at the village. With each visit, she brings not just encouragement, but tangible support. Support from individuals like her has, in part, made life easier for victims who sought shelter here.
Ở đây có thể khẳng định rằng bà Masako là một cái người phụ nữ rất yêu Việt Nam. Nhưng mà cái đối tượng mà bà yêu thương nhất, bà quý trọng nhất, bà dành nhiều tình cảm nhất đấy chính là các nạn nhân da cam dioxin Việt Nam. Bởi vì bà cũng là con người mà cũng chịu cái tổn thất về cái nỗi đau da cam. Bà Masako tôi biết rằng là bà có chồng là nạn nhân da cam. Chính vì vậy mà cái việc vận động nguồn lực, huy động nguồn lực để chăm sóc, giúp đỡ nạn nhân da cam của bà Masako làm cái hành động rất nhân đạo và làm cái hành động đem lại một cái sức ảnh hưởng rất là lớn.
In 2011, Masako Sakata launched the Seed of Hope project, offering scholarships to Vietnamese students affected by Agent Orange. So far, the project has awarded scholarships to 200 students across 21 provinces, totaling over 2.3 billion Vietnam dong, or about $95,000. In recognition of her dedication, the Vietnamese government awarded her the Vietnam Friendship Medal. Her documentaries and visits to care homes for Agent Orange victims have contributed to healing old wounds and offered hope to those still living with its aftermath.
So your films have won prestigious awards, including the Mainichi Documentary Film Award and the Paris International Environmental Film Festival's Special Prize. How have these recognitions impacted your mission?
Well, at that time, I was so consumed with making my film, and after having completed the film, having it shown. So I didn't realize the prestigiousness of those awards. But looking back, I should have appreciated it more.
I see, because you were always on the run, looking for a new topic and new
Not
stories.
really. I'm getting old, and I think this is going to be the last one, the one I'm making now.
Okay, so the one you are making now, we will talk more about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I want to talk about your advocacy work. You founded Seeds of Hope project and providing scholarships to Vietnamese students affected by Agent Orange. what inspired you to do that?
Well, first of all, when I showed my first film in Tokyo, a prestigious theater called Iwanami Hall, we thought about, well, you know, people were moved by watching the Agent Orange victims. So we thought of, why don't we make a little donation box and collect money? And we collected more than we hoped for, so we gave that to Baba as a donation. And while continuing to film the sequel to it, it was brought up to me that Agent Orange victims are not only the ones who are helplessly disabled, but there are those who are were born without legs or without hearing or with blind, but they're capable of doing different things. So I thought, well, maybe, but they cannot go to school because they're poor. And I was told that maybe with a small amount, 2,500 yen at that time per year, per student, they can continue to go to school and make the burden of the family lighter. So I thought 2,500 yen is like one dinner in Japan.
Wow.
Why don't we start contributing more money? So I thought of starting a Seed of Hope, and every time my film is shown in Japan, I talk about it, and the people are very compassionate and donated quite a few, and I continue to do that.
Do you know how many lives have you helped through that?
How many lives? But I hear my money goes to Baba, and Baba has helped about 200 students so far, over 15 years.
Yeah. In 2017, you also received Vietnam's Friendship Order.
Yes.
For your contributions to Agent Orange victims. I know that you are a very humble human being, but how did you feel when your contributions got recognized by the Vietnamese?
I feel honored. I feel humbled, and glad that I have done something positive in the sorrow of losing my husband came to a positive end. So his death was used for some positive end.
When you were filming, do you feel that he was still with you?
Yeah, in a way. In a way, especially when I'm in Vietnam, I feel his presence. He was a Vietnam veteran, but he became a photographer, and he covered Vietnam from 1986 until 2000, until he dies, many times. So,
do you think if he's still alive, he would feel very proud of what you've done?
I think so. I think so. I wish he was here to help me film, because he would have lots of advices.
He's a photographer, right?
He was a photographer.
Yeah.
And he covered a lot of events, how the Vietnam went through embargo period and until the prosperity.
I see. Yeah.
In fact, I used a lot of his pictures in my film.
Yeah, that's a good way to commemorate him.
Yes.
So, for your trip this time in Vietnam, did you manage to see the people that you filmed and you met 20 years ago?
Yes, there are two persons, can I say, victims of Agent Orange?
Yes.
Yeah. In Ho Chi Minh City, that I met 21 years ago. That is Nguyen Thi Hong Loy and Huan. I can't recall her family name. They were both at Tuzu Hospital as a student at that time, and I've been following their activities and interviewing them many times. And this time, they were both married and had beautiful daughters and having a happy family life. very happy to have perfect children.
Yeah. So it was 21 years ago when you first met them.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that after 21 years, their lives they are in good place now.
Yes, they're very happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long Time Passing is a deeply moving documentary about Trần Thị Hoan, a young woman born without legs and one arm, the result of her mother's exposure to dioxin during pregnancy. Hoan graduated from university and now works at a hospital in Ho Chi Minh City. She went to great lengths to achieve her ambitions.
Nobody can take care of me, so I have to learn how to independence and how to take care of myself. So that time I feel, oh my God, no way. So I just try to get back Ho Chi Minh City, Peace Village, to study. I have to try my best at school, and then I can have a good job.
Another unforgettable story is that of Nguyễn Hồng Lợi, a young man missing both legs and an arm due to dioxin exposure. Yet with relentless determination and passion, he became a competitive swimmer.
Lúc đầu thì mình học cũng rất là khó khăn vì chỉ có một tay, nhưng vì là đam mê và mình muốn mình bơi được nên mình đã cố gắng học, và sau 5 ngày mình đã bơi được. Bơi tốt sức khỏe của mình và có thể dạy bơi đến cho mọi người.
Long Time Passing also sheds light on the struggles of many other Agent Orange victims, people born into unimaginable circumstances, but who rise above them with courage and dignity. Through her lens, she captures how the legacy of conflict lingers in the lives of survivors whose scars never healed. The burden carried by families affected by Agent Orange is slowly being lessened, thanks to the compassion and support of a caring community.
So you have been to Vietnam so many times. Are there still anything about Vietnam that still surprise you, or new things that you are learning about Vietnam, or new inspiration that you get from Vietnam?
Yes, every time I come here, it's a surprise. Mostly economical development is a surprise. But this time especially, in interviewing many fighters of resistance, Liberation Front resistance members, I asked the question, why could Vietnam win over America, such a small country, small poor country, over America, which is a rich and strong country?
Yes.
And I'm beginning to see the reason why, which is the unity and comradeship. You know, it's been my question, but I'm learning the answer little by little.
Yes.
Every time there's a new finding about Vietnam.
So, after more than 2 decades of documenting the topic of Agent Orange, what keeps you motivated to continue your work? And you talked about you are in the process of making your last documentary.
Yes.
I hope it would not be your last. But can you share more about that?
Every time I finish, I have made Agent Orange film, I think this is it, I don't need to do anymore. But I keep finding more reasons why I should continue, because the problem keeps continuing. The people who are fighting against it continue, and it is a never-ending problem. One day I hope it will become I will see the end of it, but not in a foreseeable future. So we should keep fighting for it, and the subject keeps coming to me.
I see.
But there's only physical limit to what I can do, so that's why I think this may be the last one.
But you can inspire many others to continue.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes. Your films have been screened globally, from Japan to Cuba. What message do you hope that audiences can get from your documentary about Agent Orange and the victims?
That the Agent Orange problem is not a long time ago, and faraway place. It's the problem that we connected to the problem of our daily life in various forms, and that the war never ends. So don't start the war.
Since the end of the war, tens of thousands of American veterans have returned to Vietnam. Some come back to visit the battlefields they were once part of. Others return again and again. Some even choose to stay or seek healing, reconciliation, and peace. It is from this need for compassion that Veterans for Peace, or VFP, was born. The organization has led many journeys across Vietnam to actively support victims of Agent Orange and help alleviate the war's lingering consequences.
I have 2 children who are healthy, and a grandchild that's healthy. And it breaks my heart to see how much they suffer.
Across the world, individuals and organizations are standing in solidarity with Vietnam's Agent Orange victims. In Belgium, a significant step was taken when the Belgian parliament passed a resolution calling for support for Vietnamese victims, symbolizing growing international compassion.
My effort in the Belgian parliament to pass these resolutions unanimously had one main goal: to draw attention to this decades-long tragedy that must not be forgotten. That's why the resolution passed unanimously, a rare occurrence in our country.
Through practical and heartfelt action, friends around the world are coming together to ease the suffering left by Agent Orange.
Looking back in your journey, how has Vietnam inspired you as a filmmaker and also for your personal growth as a human being?
When I think back, I'm 77 and I have been making the film for 22 years. So 1/3 of my life I have spent making film. So which I think is a blessing. I'm glad I found this path towards the end of my life. And Vietnam has played a big part of it. And I learned a lot. And I learned a lot from my husband's past activities. I was not paying much attention to his work in Vietnam, but now I look back and realize why he was so interested in Vietnam. It's a very interesting and important history. Vietnam is a very important... Vietnam tells a history, very important history of humankind.
And which is?
Which is... Well, to study the Vietnam War, you will learn the humankind, mentality of humankind. There's a lot to be learned from it. I have learned everything yet.
Yeah. So, if you had a message to share directly to the younger generation, a Vietnamese and international audience, what would it be?
I think it would be to know what happened. It's very important to act. And don't give up. Resilience. And that each one of us matter.
Yes. I think we're coming to the end of our talk show today. Is there anything else you would like to share to our audience out there?
Well, as I said before, Vietnam, I have learned from Vietnam a lot over the past 22 years, and I thank you.
And we also thank you for your work, for your interest and for your efforts to shed more lights on such a tragedy that happened many years ago, but still there are many more things to do about it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For sharing today, and I know that our audience out there would feel inspired very much by your story.
Thank you for having me today.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
As we wrap up today's heartfelt dialogue with Masako Sakata, her deep affection for Vietnam's Agent Orange victims resonates profoundly. Through her lens, she not only captures stories, but also honors the resilience and humanity of those affected. Let's hold on to this compassion, letting it inspire us to tell stories that heal and connect. Until next time, goodbye for now.